Hey everybody, welcome to Nexus at Night. Nope, it's not one of those. I'm Atlas. Say hi, Root Beer. Root Beer's here with me too.
Hi.
So we are recording this the Sunday after, again, not Springfest, BCS Pasadena. I did not do well.
At all.
At all, both days. This is the deck that I used on day one. This was Undercover. Now, I brought this because I thought it had the best chance of winning based on the other decks that I have. Welstra, I'm not really good at. That's more of a me problem. And Crest Harry wasn't complete. And, yeah, the Eugene build that I have is not for... That's not for regionals. That's for fun. But I think this is like a sleeper hit, no pun intended. Because it ended up getting me a top 8 at a box or a case tournament, and I won a box off of it. So I feel like it had legs at the least, and it turns out that those legs got cut off at the knees. So I'll go through the deck real quick. Basically, for people wondering how does the deck work, your grade 1s and 2s search a particular order on ride, and your grade 3 on attack can call 2 things from those set orders. Or during your main phase, check top 7 to reload those orders. Again, I'll get to that in a second. And then lastly, if you have 3 of those set orders on your field, all units with Undercover in the name get 5k during your turn. So it becomes like a Persona ride and a half. Can I help you with something?
Just like, frame it on the screen properly.
Frame it on the screen properly. Okay, fine. All right. So there's the other 3 from the Persona ride. I pretty much just went over the effect. I have 3 copies of the Obscudide. It turns out it's not just for Eva. We get one of these too.
Why not 4?
So I was running it at 4, and then I would have this problem where I would have too many of them all at once. It's like where you want to see them, but you don't want to see them all at once. Drink.
You want to see it some of the time, but not all of the time.
Yes. So the effect is that... he gets, if you have an Undercover Vanguard, he gets plus 10k and can swing from back row center, including on the opponent's turn. Meaning that you can call this up in the front, and he's a 23k beater. That ended up coming up rarely because that's what I want to happen. I want to have this in the back row center, where he can be the 4th battle without even using Vanguard's effect. 1, 2, 3, he's the 4th. His other effect is from the Undercover gauge. I guess I should go over that. Is probably a good thing to mention. This is Monitored Tryst. Monitored Tryst is a set order that can be played from the drop zone, meaning that 2 out of your 3 ride line discards are taken care of. Just on paper. Your grade 1 and your grade 2 search them. The goal is to get 3 of these and drop, because then that turns on Mordalion to do her thing.
That's a dude.
That's a dude? That's barely a dude. That's a trans icon if I ever saw one. But, so when you play it from drop, you check top 7, you can put a card as an Undercover gauge. That can be anything, but Mordalion can only call Undercover cards from there, so it might as well be that. And then if, you can play it from drop as a set order, but it's also a grade 2 set order, meaning you can't do this. You're not getting the full Monty of Mordalion until turn 4, which is a shame. I hope when they add more support in the future that they make a Monitored Tryst. By the way, fun fact, a tryst is a secret meeting, usually for sexy times, so horny spies, that's what I've been calling it. So I hope that in the future they either make a grade 1 version of these or have it with the Undercover name, and the reason for that is I want to use Dara, the grade 2, who on play you can counterblast to check top 5, get a Undercover or Shadow Paladin for some reason to your hand. This means that you can, like, she's most of your early game if you get it. She can fish for PGs, which I'll get to that in a bit, and she can fish for pretty much anything. There was something I forgot to mention about the Obscudide. You can act Soul Blast and call him from the Monitored Tryst to the back row. So one of my favorite things to do is have like one in the back row, either from hand or from this, and have a second one there. So you'd be like, swing, Soul Blast, so you get a single drive, and then it goes back to deck. And then use Mordalion to call a new one. So, yeah, this is a super important card. The other effect is when she swings, you can Soul Blast and give her 10k for the battle. That only works attacking a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. So, again, the deck almost wants to go second because Obscudide's Drive Check effect also only works on the opponent's grade 3 Vanguard, but, we are in a crest meta. Maybe I should have done that more. It's funny because I lost... What?
I was gonna say, it kind of depends, because, decks like Raziel, Levigross want to go first.
Okay, fair.
You really don't want to, choose to go second against Levigross, and then they just, push you.
Yeah, but you don't really know what it is aside from, do you have a G-Zone? No? Mm. Okay, then I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. So I never chose to go second. But,
yeah.
Maybe
but that's one of those things where it's if they don't have a G-Zone, it's probably a deck that just wants to go first.
Yeah, this deck is something that almost kind of, has a grind game, thanks to a certain kitty of ours. Mm-hmm. And it deck thins a lot. Dara deck thins a lot. Obscudide deck thins a lot.
Obviously, setting up the Trist.
Yeah, setting up the Trist deck thins a lot. Also, this new guy. So, I love this thing. After he attacks while boosted, you can put his whole column into Soul to draw, and then you can Energy Blast 3 to countercharge 1. That said, because it just says whole column, if you have a way to vacate that back spot, you can do it so where it's only him for the draw and the countercharge. This means that this is also, we have a countercharge in. Great. Yeah.
Although, the deck seems like it Soul Blasts a lot, so I think putting a whole column into your Soul might not be that bad.
Yeah, that did come in handy from time to time, but there are some grade ones that do stuff that I'm cool with. But for example, if you use the kitty, or the other undercover cards, which, by the way, we have no good ones for grade 1. Wish list. I ran 1 Protection Twin Cast because, honestly, in regards to, Regalis pieces, I didn't really have any other good ones. Maybe Union the Sky, but you use energy enough to where that's not really worth it.
Twin Cast is fine.
I think Twin Cast was
the only other thing would be, Caliburn, because, resources.
Yeah, but it's, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Search, draw, extra drive check.
Or Angel Ladder, meta dependent.
Meta dependent, yeah.
Which, I think the current meta is a decent one for Angel Ladder. But definitely next set.
Yeah, probably next set it will come more in handy. I have the Angel Ladder for when the time comes. But for now, this came up literally once the entire day. So it didn't even matter in the end. 3, Sergowan.
You're welcome.
By the way, for letting me borrow that. Give me a second, damn. For letting me borrow those.
That's the bit, is you play the Sergallons and I say you're welcome.
Okay, anyway, because you are playing set orders from drop, you can proc this even if you have less rear guards than the opponent.
Yep, because it's any order.
So that came up a couple of times. I almost got called on by the opponent where he was like, "Hey, we have the same amount of rear guards," and I was like, "I played a set order this turn, so I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing." So that was pretty cool. Obviously, when I first made this deck, because you told me to make this deck, it was supposed to be budget. And then it's just not that anymore. She was the expensive part. This used to be Painkiller Angel, which, by the way, if you want to keep it budget, just run Painkiller Angel. You'll be fine.
More Soul.
Yeah, but you'll be fine. It's not that big of a deal. And then, weirdly enough, does the camera reach all the way to the edge?
Yes.
Or, okay. So, weirdly enough, the, mirror pose of each other is the cats, which you can guard and put an undercover from drop on bottom to give it, have it give 10 or get 5k shield. And then after it boosts, you can Energy Blast 2 to bounce it. So if you use these two together, yes, it's Energy Blasting 5, but it's 1 to hand and then a draw. And 1 to soul. So these synergize quite well with each other. I kind of want something that energy charges. You use enough things to warrant it. There's never a time where I'm like, okay, I built up 7, draw 1. No, it uses the energy, which is good. I'm glad that it's doing something with it. I ran 2 of the kitties, which
shield.
Yeah, shield, and then just it's another way to call stuff to make a board. And then this is where it starts getting chunky in a bad way. So you have to run the undercover ride line in the main deck. I was actually running this grade 2 in the main deck before he came along.
Because there's not enough names.
Because there's not enough names, and it's incredibly xenophobic. The fact that I'm running Sergowan at all, there were times where I was like, check top 7. There's 2 of them, can't use them, shuffle them back in. Like, it was very frustrating. I wish we had more undercover names so that I can use them for the effects that they're meant to be used for. It's also kind of a bummer that Tidris can't recycle the Ezrases. Ezras is able to be searched off of Videra. That came in handy quite a few times.
Except for one particular time.
Well, that was during the side event today. Or do you mean yesterday?
No, today.
Oh, okay.
But it's very funny when we get to it.
I'll get to it, yeah. And then, of course, the Sanctitude, which, yeah. I ran the Red OT, which, the Keter one is almost... I don't think
the Keter one sucks.
Very good. I don't think...
Why not the Blue OT, since you have extra drive checks?
I did use the Blue OT for a time, but it just didn't feel aggressive enough, because this deck, despite having the ability to do 5 attacks, most of it is just kind of, resource-based. Draw, search, bounce, extra drive check. Call. So I think having the extra aggression there is helpful. I think it would be nice to get another undercover thing that gets a crit or battle door skill or something. Because a lot of the time it's just attack, and I'm done. Did you block it? Great, your turn.
And that's a lot of decks.
Yes. I'm trying to think of a parallel example. So Levy Dress is kind of like that, right? But it also has the Infinity Ares markers that turns that into an advantage engine. Which I have an advantage engine, but I don't really have the pressure in doing that. So that's unfortunate. There's your heals. I ran fronts because most of the time, what I would love to do is Obscudite first and then call the new one after it in the back with the Mordalian, so then the fronts would be helpful. Also shield was great.
Yeah.
And then the crits, it was crits the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And
also just draw triggers are really bad in this meta. The shield is so important, but also a lot of things just deck out now.
Yeah.
So many decks just have a ton of advantage that decking out becomes a problem.
Yeah. This is great for redoing stuff. I hate that you can't put the Ezra's back, but that's okay. In regards to how do you make the deck better? Easy. Add more undercover names. This was a great addition. It's not enough. I do think that there is also the surprise factor. A lot of people were like, what is this? I need to read your cards. And they would see the Sergowan and get excited because they're like, I know what that does. I don't know what the rest does, but that's fine.
Yeah, they might recognize the Daira.
Yeah, occasionally they would. But the Obscudite especially would confuse people because they would see that and think of Eva, and they're like, why is it grade 3? What is it doing in here? What is the rest of this?
Obscudite was always grade 3.
Is he? I thought there's the grade 2 one, isn't there?
Yeah, but the grade 2 one sucks.
It does. I actually ran that in here for a time because you would run, you could get the 3 set orders needed to give him power and shield, which again, that shows how terrible the deck is, where you're just I'm trying to push for it. You are guaranteed 2 of these. You want 3, which means you kind of have to hard mulligan to try and get this early. It was very frustrating to be okay, I just drew this later in the game and then I just had to play it. The fact that it's a set order that can be played from drop is a huge advantage, and there's just not a way to get that third one to have the pressure needed to really stick it to him. So I'm not sad that I played this deck at all. I know it has legs. I just think it needs a little bit more of them.
Yeah. So how did your games go?
Oh Lord, I have to go look at our group chat because my memory is so bad about kind of everything because of my seizure meds. So let's see. We have I lost to Rezael by a game of inches. So he ended up having his OT in hand to guard my big push turn. Then he blew my brains out the next turn. Let's see. I ended up getting the win against Tamayura because I had 0 triggers anywhere, like damage or drive, until my last turn. So I got the win on that. Then I lost to Blangmeyer, so he got the OT on the Divine Still turn, which it doesn't matter what you are. That didn't end up killing me immediately, which shows how like durable the deck is by like card advantage. Mm-hmm. But it ended up being the death warrant because like it just.
Were you still deleted the next turn?
Yes, I did not have my Persona ride. Then I lost to Grand Blue, which if you watched the other video with Root Beer's deck profile, you heard some of this. He had this weird just loop, advantage loop of like the tokens with the grade 1 girl that blows up the tokens and then Largolv and recycling Nectar of Sensationalism over and over and over again, and he just was able to outlast me. I ended up giving myself a swirly a little bit because I called one of my Mordalians as a rear guard, thinking like I need this for the 5th attack. Because I Persona read that turn, I'm like, I need this for the 5th attack, it'll kill him, and then it didn't, and then my turn after that was like kind of anemic.
Yeah.
What's anemic? Not a lot of blood, not a lot of vitality, right? Mm-hmm. So that was definitely my fault, and then, that was it. That was my day. I dropped after that. Before this tournament started, I was thinking to myself, play what's comfortable so you at least know what you're doing. And sure, I did. I don't think I misplayed except for the Grand Blue game. But I just didn't have what it took. But I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I know it has legs. It got top 8 in a case tournament. It's got something.
Oh yeah, but what about day 2?
You want to hear about day 2? Fine, all right. So played Great Nature, which I was thinking to myself, it's frozen. It's a format frozen in amber.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Lost to Shiranui. Then lost. Oh wait, no, didn't lose to Mega Colony. I'm able to like get around the Dredora thing because I'm searching the Big Belly to re-ride every turn. But he goes into like his one of his turns, and I'm at 5 damage, and then he stops. He goes pass. I'm like, okay. So I go into the Parrot, Caladrius, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can probably do this. And then he had Brilliant Blister and cut my turn off at the knees. And then he goes into Megiddo. And I hadn't seen the Neon Gize. For people who are confused, if you are running a Stoicheia cards in Premium, which are a combination of the green clans and the blue clans, you can run the other Zeroth Dragon if you have Neon Gize in the deck. I hadn't seen it yet, so I called for a judge. I'm like, can you make sure it's in there? And it was. So he goes into Megiddo. And I'm just like, I'm going to scoop. You got it. Because I'm at 5, I have like 3 cards in hand. He's got, 7 attacks coming at huge numbers. I'm like, you got it. And he goes, you can have it. What? You can have it. You can have the win. I'm like, okay, thanks. So got the win there. Then it was up against, to Harry, which I'm doing my Caladrius turn. He gets a defensive OT. Immediately cuts my turn off at the knees. And then I dropped. So
No, you played against Bermuda.
Oh, Bermuda, and then ended up losing. Which that didn't really feel.
And then you dropped.
Then I dropped. Lastly, I go to the side event, and I'm like, I'm going to play Undercover again. I lost to Granfia. I hate you. I hate you. I hate that guy. I hate Iggy Pop. I hate everybody. Because even with... I had 3 of these in the first 3 turns. Searched 3 times. No PGs.
Skill issue.
Dick.
I got like crit into infinity by the Razile player. It happens.
Well, because for people who are like, what's Granfia? So it was supposed to like make a huge plant token thing.
Yeah.
And then you restand the plant token.
No, so what it is he creates a big token, and then it collects gauges that gives it 5k power. So what you do is like you remove 3 of the gauges to restand one of your rear guards, and I think its power increases by like the token.
Yes. Now
So, like,
he would,
or like based on the number of gauges, I think it was like you got power.
yeah.
So you would get like 2 really big attacks, and then recently in set 5 they got a rear guard that gets a crit.
Yeah, so he didn't have that. He had that and then 2 Rosarium Fairy in the front row to copy that big token. So it's like 73, 73, 93 or whatever. Swing with Vanguard, stand it, crit. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I had no PGs. Dead. And I'm like, what happens? Like, this seems pretty good. And he's like, if they have PGs, I die.
Yeah.
If they don't, I win. And it was the latter. GG's. And I'm like,
It's just...
okay.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Is like, it's so piece reliant. Also, if they get rid of the token, that's just like it.
Yeah.
Like, your turn just done.
Oh, like, if the opponent, during their turn, has a way to retire said token, poof, like, that's it?
I think so, because I don't remember exactly how... No, because I think you can make a new token, the problem is, like, you have to get all the gauges back.
Right.
So, like, if they're just retiring the tokens, like, oh, cool, I had, like, 5 gauges on it that are just, like, gone, so I have to spend all my resources, like, making new plant gauges.
Yeah, so this was definitely a loser's weekend for me. Now, I am not... Okay, I'm a little salty, but it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, after a weekend like that, you're like, okay, throw all my cards in the fire. But the things that are keeping me around aren't just like, I know the meta's going to change, I know new cards are going to come out for the things I like to play. But it's the people you meet and the stuff you discover. Like, I met a friend who I haven't seen in a long time. And we had some really nice conversations. He's currently working on like a legacy format for Vanguard. Stay tuned for that, by the way. You'll hear more about it from us. And it's just given me faith that like even if you have a loser's weekend like this, you can still carry on either in the shadows or with your buddies. So leave a like and comment, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.